Hi Towns of, this is Tina Satia, owner of Femmebot clothing. That's not just in Ridgewood anymore. It's everywhere. This is Lifeblood.
What is Femmebot?
Femmebot is a cruelty-free lifestyle brand for music lovers and free spirits. Mostly clothing and women's accessories, but really to build confidence in women of all ages.
When did you first open Femmebot?
I opened Femmebot November 16th, 2011 at 203 East Ridgewood Ave. I remember specifically that date because I opened the day that the Kardashians were doing their book signing, and my store was connected to Bookends. So I really was aiming to open for that date because there was maybe thousands of women and children and all kinds of people going to see them. So that was my first day open in Ridgewood. I was in Ridgewood solely for about 2 years, and then I opened my second location November of 2014. And that was in Summit, New Jersey. And I picked Summit because it's very, very similar to Ridgewood. It's almost like somebody picked up Ridgewood and put it down in Summit. So I wanted to replicate the business that I had here. So that was my second location. And then I opened a third location in 2016 in Montclair at 494 Bloomfield Ave. And so those are my 3 spots.
What inspired you to start your business?
So I went to college in New York to Pace University, and when I was in school there, I was very lucky to work for my mentor, still my mentor, but one of my favorite designers, Patricia Field. And she is the costume designer for Sex and the City, for Devil Wears Prada. She was an amazing, amazing woman, and I used to shop in her store when I was in high school and take the train into the city. And my dream was to work there one day. And so I was lucky enough to have that dream come true. And I worked for her for about 7 years. I started in her store on 8th Street, then moved to her showroom. And she was my biggest inspiration. I said, one day I want to have a store just like you. And so I was lucky enough to do that.
Have you always been an entrepreneur?
No, I've actually I worked as a buyer in New York for a very long time. So I worked for other people, really learning the back end of the business. I always worked in malls. I worked, as a salesperson since I'm 14, 15 years old. But my heart was always in retail, for sure.
What are the biggest challenges you faced as a small business owner?
Consistency, stability. Those are the 2 biggest challenges, for sure. You really depend on certain months to do business to carry you through the year. And if you don't do business those months, it really just messes things up in a major way, inventory wise, finance wise, and it's very, very hard to recoup from those losses. Especially when you're dealing with clothing that has seasons. You only have a very small window to get rid of that. And so if you don't, and it goes into the next season, now you're stuck with a store full of merchandise, and you have to get new merchandise for the next season. So I think really inventory and the turnover of how quickly you have to sell things is one of the biggest problems that we face.
Describe your business for music lovers and free spirits. What's your favorite rock band?
That's the hardest question anybody could ever ask me. That's a tough one. I mean, teeters between Michael Jackson and Prince and Queen, and I don't know, there's so many amazing legends. There is no just one rock band that I love.
If you had to boil it down to just one. We won't tell him.
Prince?
Oh.
Prince. Yeah, the master.
So if you had to do it all over again, what advice would you give to your younger self?
To learn all aspects of your business and try not to depend on other people to do a lot of your work. Learn the finance end in and out. Learn to be your own bookkeeper. Learn to be able to, if everybody quit your business tomorrow, could you still run it all by yourself? And I think that's really what entrepreneurs do, is they hire people that are really good at different things, different strengths. But at the end of the day, you really have to depend on yourself. Be multifaceted, believe in yourself, believe that you can do it, and just keep going, keep learning.
You mentioned that being cruelty-free is really important to you. What inspired you to feel that way?
I watched a film called Earthlings about 5 years ago. I watched 11 minutes of it, and it changed my entire life. And I really realized how unnecessary it was to hurt an animal for any reason whatsoever. And that inspired me to come up with a collection called Cruelty-free Club, which I will be launching in the next couple of months. It is dedicated to helping animals, and it is called the Club of Kindness. It will be sort of like an athleisure casual brand. When you buy a piece of the collection, you automatically become part of the Cruelty-free Club because 15% will be donated back to a different sanctuary every single month. And so that's really a huge passion of mine, and this is one of the reasons that I'm closing, so I can pursue creating this brand.
What's your favorite article of clothing to sell?
Favorite article of clothing to sell? Pants.
Pants.
Bell bottoms specifically. Yeah, because they're flattering.
Yeah.
They're really flattering. They're from a very cool time period, and they make people look tall, and they make people feel good. They're fun. They're fun. I like fun clothing. Yeah, things that happy clothing.
Happy clothing.
Yeah.
As many know, you're closing your storefront. What made you ultimately decide to do that?
I think I really want to travel. I think I've been here for 13 years, and being a business owner, it's very hard to leave your own business. So I want to explore a little bit. I also realize that there's a better business model, I think, that could be done right now. Instead of waiting for people to walk in the door, you can go to where the people are. I've been doing a lot of pop-ups, and I think going to festivals and concerts and where you have hundreds and thousands of people, it makes so much more sense. Just go to them and give them what they want instead of sitting in a storefront and hopefully waiting for them to come to you.
How important do you think a brick and mortar store is to a small business?
I think it's important in the realm of community. It really gets you involved in the town, and you become a staple. You work with loyal customers in and out. It's really special to form these relationships with your customers. That's where I think the brick and mortar thrives. I think it's really hard to do that in a digital setting. As we can see, the trend is going online. So, I think convenience is now conquering the whole entire community. But for me, it was a very important part of my business because it helped me form relationships that I would have never formed any other way if I didn't have this store.
What do you think small businesses need from Ridgewood to continue to survive?
More traffic, but that's only going to happen if they find a way to make it more affordable for small businesses to be here. People can't afford to be in business. It costs an astronomical amount of money to run a small business. So when you put high overhead, on top of that with just base rent, it's making it really hard to survive. So I think the landlords all need to kind of get together, or the town needs to somehow put a cap on rent so we can see more businesses move into town and thrive. I think there's not enough diversity as of right now. There's 4 stores closing this month, and the stores that are moving in or have opened are all so similar. We have a town full of coffee shops, barber shops, and bakeries and banks, and that's pretty much the entire town right now. So people want a little bit of diversity, want to come to a town and be able to explore it, buy different things from different stores, and eat at a palette of restaurants. So I think it's just a lot of the same right now, and there's also a lot of vacancies, so it makes it hard.
If you were to name a few of your favorite towns in New Jersey, which ones would come to mind?
Montclair, Ridgewood, Asbury Park. I would say those are my 3 favorite.
Tell me about the first sale that you've ever made. Do you remember that?
I really do. I remember the first sale I ever made. I remember because I opened during the Kardashians. As I mentioned, it was raining really hard, and I was selling these ponchos, and it was like this Aztec back then. This like tribal Aztec print was really, really in style, and I had this Aztec poncho, and it was the first sale that I made. Was to a lady from Ridgewood.
You mentioned something about pop-ups. Are there any coming in the future?
Yes, there's a lot of fun pop-ups coming in the future. Doing a big Grateful Dead festival in Sugarloaf. And then Asbury Park, the Fall Bazaar, August 29th. Yeah, September, the Harvest Fall Festival in Ridgefield Park. So I will be all around everywhere. I have a very cool purple school bus that has been converted into an RV, and we'll be taking that as far as we can go.
So since you're going completely online, where can our viewers on this YouTube channel subscribe, find you?
Definitely subscribe. And you can find me online, www.femmebot.com. You can find me at my Instagram at femmebotstyle, TikTok, Femmebot Clothing, Facebook, Femmebot Clothing, and you can follow me to all my awesome pop-ups.
Will you miss Ridgewood?
A lot. I will miss Ridgewood a lot. I'm still, on the retail committee of the guild. I'm still going to go forward with, with them and help with events in town and really try to work with small businesses as much as I can. But I'm going to miss Ridgewood so much. This has been my home for 13 years. It's given me so much opportunity. I've met so many amazing people. So yeah, I'm going to miss Ridgewood a lot. But I'll be back here in another way.